in the building.
Street executives. Georgia Muscle Rock.
DJ.
Technique.
Good evening, everybody. Of course, it's your host, Young Brink. You're tuning in to the #1 music and entertainment TV show in Memphis and the Mid-South, BrinkTV. Now, tonight's episode is going to be a little bit different, but it's very so needed, especially with what's going on in today's society, especially in Memphis, because we got a lot of things going on in Memphis that we all go talk about. I'm going to go ahead and let these panelists introduce themselves to you, so go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Brink. Thank you, Brink. My name is Akilah Speaks, and I am a radio and TV personality here in Memphis. I'm also the owner of Cherry's Shoe Bar. Miss Jasmine?
My name is Jasmine Vann. I'm also a radio and TV personality, just like Miss Akilah Speaks over here. You can catch me regularly on AM 730, SB Nation Sports Radio, and I'm also a personal trainer, Vann Fitness.
I go by the name of St. Court. I'm a recording artist and a revolutionist.
This is my guy.
Most definitely. And like I say, we coming together tonight. It's a lot of things going on: injustice, police brutality, youth, and I'm talking about black youth getting killed, unarmed. You know what I mean, by police. So let's go ahead and talk about. We're gonna be talking about why all lives matter. Because I mean, the current hashtag is Black Lives Matter.
Right.
I agree. Don't get me wrong. I agree. But I mean, as long as we all got our children, I feel like all lives matter.
And we can say that. We can say they're true enough, and I agree with that. Cause like, I have friends of all different types of descent, creed, and color. But the thing is, all lives matter. But the issue is, black lives are being targeted more than anybody.
Definitely.
So this dealing with our demographic and where we are coming from.
Right.
A lot of people are ignorant to the facts, and don't get me wrong, because of media.
Right.
The internet has been, it's the information age. So basically, this is where the truth comes out at.
Right.
Because they can sit there and try to contort somebody's character before the actual motive or whatever situation went on with police brutality.
Right.
And put it to a point where they deserved it, kind of in it, put them in that light.
Right. And the thing about media, you know what I'm saying? When they film, they can create whatever they want.
Exactly.
With the power of editing, the power of cutting off. Okay, I can say things, and all they got to do is take it out of context.
Right.
And they make me seem like a slime ball. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's basically what they're trained to do. They go to school for that. You guys went to school,
so
I'm pretty sure.
Media sometimes it can be a very credible source, but it can also be a very discredible source, especially with the internet now. I think the internet is one of the most outsourced situations because people can just look at something on the internet and believe it, and it's just like anyone nowadays can type up something and put it out there and portray it. It's not correct, but always when you look at something, go back to look at credible sources. Like if you we're talking, look CNN, WREG, look deeper into the issue, open a book, a newspaper if necessary. But a lot of times things posted on the internet are very reckless. People that post it don't care at the time. And if you're in the industry like I am, to tell a truthful story, you'll go about doing it the right way, and then also looking up the right sources. But just to touch bases on why all lives matter, I came with this topic and I reached out to Jasmine, I reached out to St. Court, I also reached out to you about it because I felt like this was a platform that needed to be discussed, brought up as an issue, because people tend to forget. We don't want people to forget 3 weeks ago walking on the bridge to protest a reason. We don't want them to forget. So coming together with the Why All Lives Matter is basically an open discussion to talk about the differences that segregate us, and also to keep the conversation going by collaborating our opinions with what society has put out there as our differences. So I think it's important for us to just sit back, collaborate on that, give our opinions and views, and we just want to thank Brink for allowing us to come on the TV and get that message across.
Absolutely. And I want to speak real quick on the Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter. I think that it's something that we have to, and we were talking about understanding earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to understand what Black Lives Matter means. And then once you do, you can also understand why we're saying all lives matter.
Right.
Just like you said, all lives matter is that's the entire conversation.
Right.
But an extension of that
Yep.
is that Black Lives Matter. And people that don't understand why that is a hashtag, why that is our mantra, suddenly, or not even suddenly, why it's gotten so big as of late, I'll put it that way. And the internet and the media has helped and hurt tremendously with that, tremendously getting that put out there. But I think you have to understand both sides of it in order to have a total understanding and actually have a conversation about it, because it's really hard to talk about it for whatever reason, because either somebody's offended, somebody then suddenly says, no, all lives matter. We all know the controversy between the two hashtags, right? And I think that this is great because as long as we have good commentary about it and good discussions where we're not raising our voices, where we're not hurting one another, where we're actually throwing out ideas and opening our eyes. I look forward to learning something from all three of you today. And I think that's how we'll better ourselves as a community.
Okay.
And the reason why I said, all lives matter, true enough, but only blacks are being targeted.
Exactly.
I would just want to put this analogy out there. If you got a whole street, the whole street matters, every residence within the home, each home, they matter. Right. But it's only one on fire.
Yeah.
So if you send the actual firefighters to go out there to put out a blaze, then everybody's saying, well, if you go to that house, you got to get to come to this one before you go to that one.
Right.
And that's the whole situation. It's like everyone on the house, every house matters, which is we are the blacks, and ours are being burnt down.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Ours being set ablaze. So now we have to focus on this.
Yeah.
First and foremost.
If I could jump inside the house 1 second, let's talk about how did the house become on fire? You know what I'm saying?
How did the house become on fire?
We could be doing, I guess you'll say we could be better parents. You know what I mean? Educating our children on, okay, you get pulled over. This is how you conduct yourself. True enough, I'm not saying people was asking for it or everybody didn't act irrational, but you have some people that may act irrational. All I gotta say is, look, just comply. What do you need, officer? How may I help you?
Exactly.
Okay, I wasn't speeding. You know what I'm saying?
True enough, I can't.
I
can't.
don't know
For the most part,
they don't.
For the most part, I can concur with it.
Yeah.
But I have to disagree because October 7, 2011, I was beaten on Bill Street brutally by the police.
Okay.
And the only thing that saved me from trial, from going to jail for a long time, was footage of the beating.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And where I actually complied with the police officers.
Right.
And what he told me, which is Officer Murphy, I'll never forget him. Never forget him ever in my life. Yeah. And he told me, I asked him, I said, so why, I'm in the back of the hospital, the ambulance. I'm in the back of it. And I asked him, what was all this for? I'm talking about I'm bloody, beat, head swole, beyond what it is now. So he wasn't moving fast enough for me.
Wow.
So when you have that happen to you, it has a whole different effect with you, because growing up, being my color, I was always harassed by the police coming from Treasure High and things of that nature. I'm coming from the hood, that's my demographic. I was always targeted anyway. But at this point and moment of time was like, okay, this is not nothing that is normal. You feel what I'm saying? This is not nothing, this is injustice. Yeah. So you gotta understand, you gotta understand it's people that could wear a uniform but don't stand for it. Right. I can put on a BrinkTV shirt right now and don't know nothing about it. Right.
Absolutely. And I think that's why now it's such a fine line when you do try and teach your kids how to conduct themselves when you're around police officers, because we know that we've conducted ourselves. There are victims that have conducted themselves in the right manner and have still been treated unjustly. Right. So it's like, now what is the commentary that we have with our kids now? I know you still teach them to comply, you still teach them not to cause a ruckus, but then after that it's like, well, mom or dad, I can still get hurt. I can still get killed.
What else can we do?
It's a difference between being compliant and being submissive.
Right. And so who answers those questions for us?
Right.
You know?
You have to know your rights. When the police pull you over, it's ways that they're supposed to ask you for your information. It's reasons that they're supposed to ask you for your information. Your first question should be to any officer that pulls you over. Why did you pull me over?
Right.
And then you can go from there, because I've been in a situation where officers pulled me over and couldn't even make up why he pulled me over, because that was the first question. I had a question for him before he had a question for me.
Akilah,
you know,
I have been there. Okay, continue. Because
that's-
I don't understand.
I mean, that's just how it goes sometimes, and I think they look for us to act out or be negligent first before acting upon anything. Social media has been something that has been very helpful with a lot of people pulling out their phones and recording and getting that footage. Like in your situation, that footage helped you. It didn't deter you, because what a story that you're here on the Brink TV show telling people now was very true, because you had footage behind you that showed you were complying. It's just like, as you said, the officer said you weren't moving fast enough. And I mean, a lot of instances there's no telling what the real situation was before the young lady pulled her phone out. It was Philando Castro's story. Before she pulled her phone out, we don't know the real story as to why that officer, what was the conversation when he pulled them over, vice versa. Or we got to see what happened when she cut her phone on and it went viral. And a lot of times when stuff goes viral now, it can either be for good or it can be for very
Once
bad.
again, the media strikes, you know.
Will contort, and
Yes.
they actually couldn't find a record on this young man. That's what they wanted, but they wanted to say he got pulled over 30 times. That's the only thing they could find on him. He had a registered weapon. Everybody knows you cannot be one if you're a convicted felon or you went to jail or certain things, or you pending the trial or pending any type of charges. You cannot own a registered handgun.
You can't even be around.
I know.
Exactly.
You cannot be, and that's just by knowing the law. But now it's a deeper situation for me, because it was a child in the back seat. Like, I get emotional about things like that, and because I got 5 nephews and 1 niece, and it could have been me, or it could have been any one of you. So I really, that's a real touchy subject. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of whatever the case may be, that could have been handled and conducted in a whole nother way.
Right.
You know, the police officer could have conducted itself in a whole nother way. But
I think in the video he was scared that he was saying I was scared.
He was worried.
He can say that. But June 30th, right before he was transferred to that city to patrol that city, which is in Minnesota, right?
Oh, that's my birthday too.
Minnesota. Before that, he made a video that went viral, and I think they done probably snatched it down. And you know how they do. And it was basically taunting the Black Lives Matter, like F the Black Lives Matter. Had the rebel flag in the back with the sword, and he doing all the Confederate actions of Confederate soldier.
Right.
So right before that, that's what I'm saying. Like, that badge and that uniform does not justify character at all.
Look, ain't no competition 'cause we gone long.
Yo, what's wrong, man?
I don't know, I just can't get into it, Jamal.
Hold on, let me come and help you out.
Chronic Killer, the #1 air freshener in Memphis. One spray lasts all day, get you some. Ain't no competition 'cause we long gone. Catch us at the top, where we belong. Money back and forth. Ping pong. Chronic Killer, in a convenience store near you.
What do you think, and this was a question that was directed to you, so what do you think is the primary issue that caused a shift in society? I mean, outside of, and I mean going back to, because I know Trayvon Martin was not the first movie.
The only shift in society I see was we started thinking for ourselves. The only thing that I can say now that's in a disarray is how we handle it.
Okay.
That's it. Like, far as getting organized, like, channel your anger. Like, they can channel the media to make us look bad, and we can channel our anger to actually do something that's productive for our people. then we will make a difference. But that's the shift. The shift has been us because the justice system was never built for us. Let's make that clear. Let's make that clear to everybody right now. The justice system was not meant for us in any
And I think that's the theme of the protest: no justice, no peace, no racist police.
Yeah, and the thing is, we cannot, and that's what my whole thing, I don't want people to, everybody want to make this situation, like I was talking to my sister, which is son, and she's white as could be, but she understands my struggle being pro-black. You
That's
see what
all
I'm
it
saying?
takes.
And it's all love, isn't that? And I love her to death, you know what I'm saying? And anything she need, she got it.
Well, let's just jump right here real quick. Because I know that this has been an issue that's been coming up a lot whenever we address issues not only within society, it brings about more questions within communities. So a lot of people look at the situation like, okay, hey, we are dealing with police brutality on unarmed people, black people in a sense as well. But I feel like all races kind of go through something. But then dealing with the black protests for unarmed black people, we have black people that are saying, oh, we're doing it to ourselves in our own communities. Why fight now when we do it to ourselves? So that'll be my question for the panel. What is the difference between violence in the community versus the violence within the system or society?
Now, see, first thing I want to open up by saying black on black crime does not exist. Okay, that is not that may be, I don't believe that was even a statistic until people started literally saying black on black crime. Is there a statistic for white on white crime, Chinese on Chinese crime? I think
it happens in every demographic. There doesn't, or there is not a label that you can put on it, and that's why I want people to stop talking about, oh, well, blacks do it to themselves, so, you know, they have
so
mobs,
what?
They have mafias, they have organized crime systems too.
So does that mean you can come and unjustly kill us just because we do it to ourselves? Is that what you're saying? Because that's what it sounds like they're saying. And with that being said, that's why I try to say as much as possible, it does not exist, because when white people kill white people, they don't say, hey, you need to stop all this white on white crime. No one says that, or any other race for that matter, or any other nationality for that matter. Nobody says that, but so I don't understand why people keep trying to justify the unjust killings by saying, oh, well, you need to quit killing each other. Well, it happens in every community.
Yeah.
But it's but
of course, come on, bring it to us straight from the hood. Okay. That's what's going
Tulsa,
on.
Oklahoma, 1921. There was a Black Wall Street, black-owned business everywhere, even black hospitals. The city was basically black. They had everything a small town could possibly want, and everybody would flourish and thrive. There was little to no crime rate there. So black-on-black crime really in this town was a prime example that doesn't exist. They try to put it out there. In June 1st, 1920 or 21, I don't want to get wrong, so I'm going to throw both of them years out there.
That's fine.
That town was bombed. Was bombed, terrorized. It was the first terrorist attack, so don't get it wrong, people. 9/11 was not the first terrorist attack at all, by plane at all. They dropped bombs on that city, destroying hundreds and probably thousands of residents and businesses.
And this is probably something people don't even know.
Exactly. By you know, I want to say racist people. You know what I'm saying? White racists. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just white people as a whole.
And that's a true hate group. They like to say Black Lives Matter is a hate group, but not true hate group. It's like Ku Klux Klan. You know? Those are the terrorists. Yeah. Those are the terrorists. They should be on the watch list.
But they can't be on the watch list because certain ones wear badges. Certain ones are in office
and judges.
And they hide behind their cloth.
Their cloth, and that's why I say it's always cloaked, because when I got beat on Beale Street, true enough, it was a white officer that initiated. but it was black officers that facilitate. You feel me? So that's aiding and abetting that situation.
Yeah.
So we cannot sit up here and make it a race charge thing. So black on black crime, like I say, with this situation, black on black crime, y'all can cut that. Because it wasn't that until they came in and did what they did.
Right.
You feel me? So at the end of the day, ain't nobody trying to hear you.
It's not a justification for what's going on. So people should really just stop bringing it up.
I don't think anything is justified when it comes to someone losing their life, because at the same time, now I'm a mother to a young black boy, and I have to be aware of what I'm saying to him and make sure that I'm talking to him and teaching him the right things, because when he's out there on his own, there's not going to be anyone that's going to love him and care for him as much as I do. That's going to step in and handle situations that matters different. I can't expect an officer to treat my son different from his son if they're two total different nationalities. They might be into the same things, but a lot of times there are always outcomes where the black people are reprimanded for things and white people get off. Other nationalities get off. And it's we can't sit back and collect everything, but everything is public record. So anything that goes about that if you want to research it or look it up, as journalists, we can tell you here today, it is public record. Anything goes to court is public record. But at the same time, you still have shows where you can't even put those statistics and numbers together because it's just overall, they get off. We don't.
That's absolutely right. I mean, look at the situation with the young man from Stanford, Brock Turner, the young white swimmer who had sex with an unconscious woman behind a dumpster.
Right.
And I believe he's out now, if I'm not mistaken. He's out in the streets on parole now, which he was only originally sentenced to 6 months, I believe.
Wow.
And the judge said that, he has so much ahead of him in his future. You don't want to ruin him, by putting him in jail.
Yeah.
But the exact same situation happened with a young black student, and he was sentenced to almost 25 plus years. And he's not out on the streets right now.
But back to the situation, this system was not built to protect us.
That's very true. And that shows that if anything, and there have been more Brock Turner situations, okay? There have been many, many situations, but that's another thing about, let's roll on back around to this media, okay? And the question that you asked courts earlier about when the shift in society, when there was a shift in society, I think that, of course, we know that Trayvon was not the first, okay? We absolutely know that.
And we're going to touch bases on that shortly.
I think that the media frenzy that surrounded that, I think that it was a great thing because it woke so many people up. Okay, and in the day and age where we do use our cell phones more than we speak to humans in a lot of cases, in this internet age, in this social media age, I think that that's when people started really like, hold up, even though we know what's in our history books, which isn't much, which doesn't do our movement justice, but even though we know those things, I think when that Trayvon Martin situation happened, that's when a light bulb turned on for a lot of people.
And you got
a lot of young black people.
Look, ain't no competition cause we gone long.
Yo, what's wrong, man?
I don't know, I just can't get into it, Jamal.
Hold on, let me come and help you out.
Chronic Killer, the #1 air freshener in Memphis. One spray lasts all day, get you some. Ain't no competition cause we long gone. Catch us at the top, where we belong. Money back and forth. Ping pong. Chronic Killer, in a convenience store near you.
Got a chance to also get some extended coverage about the Trayvon Martin movement. So if you want to touch bases on how that went for you. And
basically, she was here in Memphis and she was speaking, and I got the chance to interview her, and her spirit was just so lively. You know what I'm saying? Even though she's been through a lot, they never talk about his brother that just graduated college. They never talk about him. #1, they label Trayvon as a thug and this and that, but he's a good student. He's a good kid. But the thing I talked to her about, I had my hoodie on, and I asked her, I said, well, what do you see? I didn't have it on per se. I said, what do you see? She said, well, I see a fairly decent looking young man. I said, okay. I put the hoodie on. Now, what do you see? She said, I see my son. And I asked her, okay, what does society see? She said, a problem.
Yeah.
So what is it about us young black men, you can speak on it as well, what is it about us young black men that society sees us as a threat? Because I could be wearing a suit and they still gonna label me as a problem. What is it about us that they see as a threat?
Anything that they don't see as submissive is a problem.
Can you say that to the cameras one more time?
Yeah, because they need to
that-
hear us.
Anything that they don't see as submissive is a problem.
And let me touch bases on that too, because taking my theoretical orientation class, U of M, shout out to U of M,
Right.
you learned a lot. So one thing that they brought up when they labeled black men, they labeled them as brutes.
Mm-hmm.
Brutes. Big, the higher, the bigger your brute, the more stronger your brute, the more money he sold for, and y'all know what I'm talking about.
Right.
You know, they labeled them as brutes, the strength, their level, the massiveness. They wanted to mate those big massive brutes with other full women, because to make more, So I feel like in a sense, I feel more so like when you're watching those movies where they're creating the clones and stuff. It's more so like you created this man. And I think I had to analyze a picture of LeBron James, and he was on a magazine cover with a beautiful supermodel Giselle, and he was holding Giselle, and I had
holding
to
the basketball,
and I had to analyze what did that cover mean. What mean as far as what they were trying to put out there, but at the same time, what did it really mean? And I look at it all the time that we even say now we feel like our NBA players are just projects.
I want to get into that. I mean, cut you off. But with that picture, when I'm holding that woman, there was actually a reenactment per se, but only the white privileged people know that there was an actual reenactment or redoing of the King Kong.
I was just gonna say Beauty and the Beast,
right.
And they said that's the only thing that killed the
When he
Beast.
stood on top, when the King Kong stood on top of that building, he held that white woman. So basically, that's what they were trying to portray. And that's why he had his mouth open, all the breasts.
King Kong,
like King Kong. So they want to still label us as
brutes.
Brutes.
Yeah. Now listen, you
LeBron
said
one of their biggest brutes right now.
And you said it.
Sorry, LeBron.
You said that back then when they go to sell them and they put these labels on them and these numbers on them, as far as what they're worth, what they saw them as worth, they measured them by their physical appearance, their physical abilities, athleticism. Okay, and so now that's just the modern day thing, just like you said. It's just
why
modern
be
day.
afraid of something that you created? You wanted these big black men for other reasons.
It's mental.
But when they start using their brains,
it's psychological because back in slavery times you would get killed if you knew how to read or write.
Right.
So basically, one of those brutes with a mind
there
is
you
the
go.
most dangerous
there you go.
ever.
So now he's got the total package. Now he's got the total package.
Because the mind is the biggest muscle.
Yep.
And we only use 10% of the average human does. You see what I'm saying?
right?
So what about that other 90? It's dangerous to them.
I would be afraid of Frankenstein if he stopped listening to me
stopped
too.
listening,
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I ain't got no control over. I'm scared of.
There you go. Put it in
Exactly.
perspective.
Exactly. At the end of the day, when they see this, this is scary.
Yeah.
For the most part, I don't even care what that young man or this young man or this young lady has to say, because I know they're coming to put their minds together for something.
Right.
That I don't know what it is, so it's dangerous for me, because the worst enemy that you will have is the one that you don't know about.
Yep.
Wow.